Hello and welcome to the video for 5th grade for Monday, May the 4th. Before we get started, I want to give a couple announcements. So for my Risen Christ Lutheran students, our new packets went home today. And so this will be the first lesson from that. You will notice on the piece of paper that was with the packet for the math assignments that I did not put problem numbers. I have done that on purpose. We are going to keep as much as possible the same routine where we were working with the odd number problems for share and show it on your own, and then even number problems for the homework on the front, and then 1 and 2 on the back. Now, I will probably make some changes as needed, but one of the things I want to let you know about is the homework videos are going to start looking a little bit different. So I've noticed that there are a sizable number of people that are finding these videos through other resources such as Google searches, trying to search for different videos, and so my videos are coming up on those search results. So to try to help everyone out, I am going to include all of the homework problems for each lesson, front and back, to be able to be more helpful to the people that are finding our videos outside of people that normally would be finding them through our school. So today's lesson, we are going to be working with classifying triangles. So this is something I have not had to do for quite some time because I have been teaching primarily 3rd grade for the last number of years. And so if you are a parent watching this and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't remember this, well, don't feel bad. This is refresher for me as well as I'm preparing and doing this. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is whether or not it's an equilateral, an isosceles, or a scalene triangle. Most of us probably, if we're adults, remember those names at some point in time, but don't always remember what they mean. And that's one of the areas that I end up with. I'm much better at remembering the angles than I am remembering the part about the sides. So an equilateral triangle means that we have equal sides, and we are going to have 3 congruent or equal sides for that shape. An isosceles triangle is going to have 2 matching sides and then 1 that is different. So we're going to have 2 congruent sides for that. And actually for the last one, a scalene triangle, because all of them are different lengths, we are going to have 0 congruent sides for that. And then all we have to worry about for right, acute, and obtuse are going to be the measurement of the length, or sorry, the lengths of the measurements for the angles. So a right angle is always going to have 190-degree angle or right angle. An acute angle is going to have 3 acute angles. And an obtuse angle is going to have 1 obtuse angle. So one of the things that helps, if we ever have an obtuse angle or a right angle, then that matches the name that we give to the triangle. If we don't have a right angle and we don't have an obtuse angle, we should have 3 acute angles, which means we have an acute triangle. So hopefully that helps. So let's take a look. We're going to skip that part. Let's go ahead and take a look at our share and show. So to start with, we are going to try to figure out if we have equal side lengths. So to start with, we do not. So going back over to here, a scalene triangle is going to be, I'm just going to put an S for that, our triangle that doesn't have matching sides. And then we can look, all 3 angles are going to be acute angles. So I'm going to put an A for that. So we have a scalene acute triangle. Number 2, we have matching sides, we have matching angles, and that means that all 3 of those are going to end up being less than 90 degrees. There's a reason for that, but we'll talk about that later. And so that would be an equilateral acute triangle. And then our last one will be scalene because we have, or excuse me, isosceles. See, it's been a while. We have 1 matching pair, and then we are going to have an angle that is 29 degrees, and then we were going to have two angles that are both less than 90 degrees that are matching. So inside we should have a total of 180. So that means neither one of these can be 90 degrees or larger. That means we are going to have an acute triangle for that purpose. So we are not going to try to draw this, but we can look at the information. So for number 5, we have 2 inches, 5 inches, and 3.8. That means none of the sides are the same length. So that's going to give us a scalene triangle. And then looking at the angle measurements, we have 2 that are going to be smaller than 90 degrees. We have 1 that is larger. Since we have this 1 that is larger than 90 degrees, that automatically makes it an obtuse triangle. That is interesting. So for number 6, if you want to argue the merits of this, the one that would not belong, I would argue, is this one because it is the only one that does not have a right angle. Number 7, 2 equilateral triangles that are congruent and share a side. So what polygon is formed? Is it a regular polygon? So assuming that we do this correctly, we should get something that looks a little bit like that, if I drew it perfectly. So what polygon is formed? It would be a quadrilateral if we go ahead and make it based on the outside. And is it a regular polygon? Well, we are working with equilateral triangles, which means these two measurements would be equal and they would be matching both of these. So yes. Let's go ahead and take a look at our homework problems real quick just to make sure that we're good on that. So I do want you to do number 2 and number 4. Again, we're not worried about trying to find any specific measurements. We are trying to figure out how we would classify these. So again, we're looking, we have a matching pair here. We don't have a matching pair here. Looking at this one, it doesn't look like we have a matching pair. And we have enough information to be able to figure out whether we would have a right, an acute, or an obtuse triangle. Number 8, so think about this one. Karen says every equilateral triangle is acute. Is this going to be true? So you could try different things to see what you come up with. I'm not going to add number 9. I will cover it in the review portion. Number 1 and number 2 on the back, we can guess this because we would have to have a total of 180 degrees inside the triangle. So keep that part in mind as you are working on this. Add these two together, subtract from 180, that will give you your other angle measure. Okay, and then for number 2 on the back, you have all the information you need to be able to do that one. So hope that helps. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask in Google Classroom. And again, on Tuesday morning, I'll have the homework video that will cover all of the homework problems, not just the ones that you guys are required to do. So hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.